talk about gay pride. Like, this is...
So I don't have the same take as the rest of the panel when it comes to the idea of legislating morality. I think that there are ideas which are subversive and that we can get rid of, and that that's absolutely fine to do. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to pornography. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to children being introduced to this type of sexuality so young. I don't think that that's necessary at all. I don't think it's an impingement on free speech at all.
Andrew Wilson went on Piers Morgan Uncensored and absolutely annihilated a couple of woke soy boys, as Andrew Wilson normally does when he goes on Piers Morgan's show. But this one was so bad that it did leave Piers Morgan pretty stunned, pretty shocked, and obviously leaving the woke soy boys shocked here. Let's get into this clip here where Andrew Wilson absolutely annihilates an entire panel of woke idiots live on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
But for an adolescent, like these young kids, I'm seeing kids at dinners when we're at restaurant surfing TikTok while their parents are not even paying attention to what they're doing. Like that right there is a massive problem. And if we don't, as a society, get a hold of that, then this will never end. There will be more series like Adolescence that hit even harder because we're witnessing it in our own lives.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you seem to be in agreement with some of that.
Yeah, it's poison. There's no doubt. It re-scrambles children's brains, and it's very difficult to monitor. Even if you have parental controls, they can find ways around it. At school, they have peers who will assist them in getting around it. You have to monitor it really well. Smartphone technology for my own kids, it was kind of new. I wish that I, in retrospect, had done more guarding against that myself. You don't know the dangers of that technology until children get a hold of it, and then you're left scrambling going, oh man, I wish I had known that this was going on or that was going on, but you have no idea. Now, though, we have a little bit of retrospect, and we know that it's an appropriate thing to do to guide against this type of technology because, yeah, he's absolutely right. It does create all sorts of problems for kids. I'm not sure that gets to the heart of the masculinity and feminine issue, but I totally agree with him that we should be safeguarding our children against this technology. It does seem to be very bad for them.
And James, there is pretty well unfettered pornography on the internet available to young men and women, obviously, but men are watching a lot of often quite violent, degrading sexual scenes in these porn clips they're seeing online. None of that can help in the way an impression.
Yeah, it's no doubt it's detrimental to society, but especially to younger children's minds. What's crazy is this is the topic of this. This is the topic, and that I don't pre-watch these, but this is the topic, and that people are going to hardcore disagree with Andrew Wilson's take that this stuff is bad for children and bad for people in general. It's no doubt detrimental to society. There is no arguing that this stuff is detrimental to society. I don't know how anyone could argue against that, possibly.
Young male mind goes about trying to forge a real relationship with an actual woman.
Well, I think it's important not to say young male mind is any person's mind, right? Like, I don't think we should victimize men. I can't believe Andrew's agreeing with me. But yeah, it's awful. I mean, I genuinely don't think people should have phones until they're 16. They certainly shouldn't have social
Well, Australia's done that, and I'm not against it. The smartphone ban till 16.
I mean, it's terrifying.
Why not?
You can't go on air, on TV, and say whatever you want. Like, I know you're pretending that you're uncensored, but you couldn't sit here and say literally whatever you want. Well, not really, Piers, because if you said something that incited hatred or racism or a terror attack,
I wouldn't want to say
you would be arrested.
I wouldn't
but online,
why would I want to incite
I'm
a
not
terror
saying
attack?
that you want to. I'm just trying to make a point. Online,
you're saying I can't say what I want.
Online,
I do not want to incite a terror attack.
But if you did,
I'm allowed. Just to be, you're raising an interesting point about censorship.
Yeah,
we're uncensored because I don't say anything I don't want to say.
Right.
So when you say I'm censoring, I'm actually self-censoring. I'm not. I'm not going to call for a terror attack.
I'm not saying that you would ever do that, of course, but I'm saying that if you did, there would be accountability for that because you are broadcasting to a lot of people.
Right.
But a lot of people online do not have that gate stopping them from saying horrendous things, and so therefore it can blow up online, excuse the horrible pun, and that shouldn't be allowed. There should be a system in place that stops people broadcasting things that aren't meant to be broadcast to millions of people.
One of the problems, Tommy, Toby Young, who's a British journalist, director of Free Speech Union, very, very big in promoting and defending free speech, says Adolescence, the new teen drama, is pro-censorship propaganda, partly paid for by the state. It is now being seized upon by Labour left-wing MPs as evidence we need more online censorship. And that is, of course, you talk about a swinging pendulum. What you don't want to come out of all this is an overreaction and an over-censorship, because that in itself becomes a problem.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with Sean on this point, too. I think parenting has more to do with this than any of us really, can even understand. I mean, many, I'm sure, on this panel can. But parenting is, to me, the end-all, be-all of all of this. I mean, you can watch horrible things online. You can listen to people say horrible things. But if you've got a good foundation with good parents at home, hopefully two, that provides you with a lot of guidance and support to navigate these things. And it doesn't really, scramble your mind in the way that those that are not blessed with a two-parent household may be impacted by it. I don't believe that censorship is ever the answer. I believe that more speech is the answer to speech that you don't like. And as much as I don't like certain people online and what they say, whether they're the Tate brothers or whoever else, I believe that they should have the right and the ability to say it. And then people like us should have the right and ability to respond to it. I think that's the healthiest way to come to a great consensus, or at least a public square where we can all debate ideas with dialogue and conversation. But I don't think that censorship is ever the answer. And I think that, our leaders in America have done a great job of emphasizing that, especially to the European countries who believe censorship is the way to cleanse or the way to legislate morality. I just don't think that's the way to do it.
Well,
yeah, I don't think that's the way to do it either. And I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments about that, on what we should do about this issue, because I'm sure that 90% of you guys agree that this type of content that they're talking about here is detrimental to society. There's really just no doubt about it. And I'm curious to see what you guys think the answer is, because I don't think it is censorship. I don't think just take it off and don't allow anybody to do it. Because not even that would be necessarily a bad thing, but anytime you do that, it's just going to create a black market effect. And that things are going to get even worse, more vile. It's going to be more children involved. I don't want to go too much into it, but you don't want that to happen. None of us want it to happen. And what I think needs to happen is more shame in society. Shame for participating, shame for watching it, consuming it, being addicted to it, all of that stuff. Just shame needs to be brought into this factor, into this entire genre of entertainment and content that people are consuming. And I think it just really needs to be a shame thing. It's kind of like what happened with cigarettes. They didn't ban cigarettes. You just got shamed out of smoking them, and they give you that look like you smoke cigarettes. It's pretty gross. And I don't think the same thing needs to happen with that type of content. It needs to be a societal, cultural shift. And right now, it's shifting positively. It's shifting in an accepting way. It's totally fine. Like, oh, you watch stuff, it's fine. You make that type of content? That's awesome. How much money did you make? That's great. Like, it needs to be shamed more. It's ridiculous. I know people are going to say, oh, it's shamed all the time on social media. It's not shamed enough, obviously, because the numbers are growing. And I actually looked at the numbers for this, but something like 2.2 million women are on OnlyFans. Active content creators on OnlyFans. That's a lot of women. That's a lot. And that's a problem. And it's not being shamed enough.
Reaction, certainly in the UK, for a long time now, many years, has been to censor and to ban and prohibit and so on. And I think people are beginning to wake up to the downside of that, is that once you chip away at things like freedom of speech, freedom of expression, you're heading down a pretty slippery road, which can be dictated by your government, and then that's not a place.
It's interesting though, isn't it? I mean, I just want to make a side point, and I don't need to get into it, but like, your government are banning books, so they are literally talking about free speech whilst also banning free speech in it that they don't agree with. So what you're saying is nice, and I agree with you in principle, but that's not literally.
They're not banning books, dumbass. They're not banning books. Who is banning books? This isn't Fahrenheit 451. It's funny how they play these mental gymnastics games where your government's banning books. They're not banning any books, dude. That's like saying the government is banning guns because they don't allow guns to be brought into elementary schools. They're not banning guns, dumbass. They're not letting, Tommy Loren just said, I mean, I'm not going to say it again, but you heard what she said. They're not letting those type of books into schools. They're not banning them. Why are we playing dumb? Why are we playing like we're stupid? Can't understand basic common sense in front of a whole panel. Just because you don't allow guns in elementary school doesn't mean that guns are banned in the United States. It's not how it works, bro.
Same as banning books.
You talked about freedom of speech, right? And everyone coming together and having a discussion about it.
Oh my God.
But that's not what's happening.
Yeah, but
putting
we're talking
graphic
about in the
gay
home,
porn
not in
into
school.
children's libraries is a little different.
I mean, no one should be putting porn into a children's library. I think we all agree on that.
Then why are you complaining
What's the
that that's
issue?
being
Because that's not
banned?
what I'm discussing. I'm discussing books that talk about diversity, equality, that talk about Black Lives Matter, that talk about gay pride. Like, this
Yeah,
is...
so I don't have the same take as the rest of the panel when it comes to the idea of legislating morality. I think that there are ideas which are subversive and that we can get rid of, and that's absolutely fine to do. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to pornography. I don't think that we need to have unfettered access to children being introduced to this type of sexuality so young. I don't think that that's necessary at all. I don't think it's an impingement on free speech at all. And not only that, there's going to necessarily be limits on every single freedom that we have. By necessity, that's the way it has to be, unfortunately. And the reason it has to be that way is because otherwise you're going to have nothing but subversives who go in and subvert your entire culture, which is exactly what happened in the UK, and it's exactly what's been happening in the United States. So we have to have some way to fight back against that.
All right, Sean, final word to you.
I mean, Andrew Wilson just absolutely cooked the guy, no doubt about it. I can't disagree with anything he just said. It's ridiculous to say that, and I feel like he just said that for the sake of argument, and I feel like Piers Morgan got in his ear and was like, hey, you guys are agreeing too much. You got to say something stupid to spark some argument, because there's no way that he genuinely believes that not allowing that type of stuff into schools is banning books. There's just no way. It's not even close. But I'm really curious to hear what you all think in the comment section below. That's it for me today. Really appreciate you all watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.